Reality Bang. I'm Johan, and thank you for coming again. I want to thank each and every person who have been watching the live every single day and coming for this, and thank you for coming for this week as well. And today we'll be discussing on cybercrime. Once again, if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can definitely get in touch with us at 6364252164. And you can always get in touch with us at info@feba@gmail as well. So again, once again, the topic is going to be on cybercrime. And to discuss this, we have the very, very, very knowledgeable and creative person, Wilfred Shreyas. Thank you, Shreyas, for coming here. How are you?
You're welcome, Johan. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
doing great. I hope you are doing great too.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for coming. So, so we have already done a show with Shreyas, and we have discussed, where we discussed about finance, and it
Finance.
was great having Shreyas on the show. And he did a great breakdown on the finance advice for the youth. I know it was very great and encouraging for the youth, and I know so many people also who watched the live and told me, how great it was the way he explained. So, again, once again, we thank Shreyas for coming here because. We're going to discuss on cybercrime and cases go for that. But for the ones who are watching here for the first time, let me give you a quick introduction of Shreyas. So Shreyas is the lawyer with his law degree from the Karnataka State Law University. He has also covered around over 18,000 students, motivating them towards a possible career path, giving them talks on leadership, public speaking, career choices, enabling students to choose rightly, and bridging the gap between their passion and career that has been his prime focus. With his experience as a content writer and subject matter expert with many publications, he has authored a book called Yes, I'm an Idiot, which is a very motivational and exceptional for many readers. And he's also contributed to the CA Foundation Business Law material published by Pearson Publications. He's a TEDx speaker and he has given talks on various platforms, including educational fairs and seminars organized by various media houses like Public TV, Vijay Karnataka, and many more like that. He was awarded the Best Speaker Award at the orientation program organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is a regular speaker on company law and fraud examination at various platforms. He has delivered talks at 100 plus stages, teaching being his passion. He also coaches CA and CA students at various colleges, university, and coaching centers across India, and is presently a professor of law and audit at JK Shah classes. He has judged over 50 plus national level business fest competitions and moot courts. Previously, he has worked in the field of taxation with Deloitte. He is presently a director at Chokma Private Limited, Faholo Private Limited, and ISP Corporate Services, and one of the partner at Skyway. So, Shreyas, that's quite the profile you have. So it's great. It's great for having you here. So I know So we need to thank Shreyas because Shreyas is as of now he's also he's he was teaching. He was giving a lecture before coming to the live, and he's given us time for us. And thank you so much, give from your busy schedule. So let's get straight
Thank you.
into it.
Thank you. Thank
So
you so much. Thank you.
as
Keep.
the yeah, so as the topic is cybercrime, let's get straight into it. Let's just start with the most basic question: and what is cybercrime?
So it's something that used too much today. If you look at most news channels covering it, maybe your reels also covering it. So there are quite a lot of portions that is spoken on cybercrime. But if you look at the definition of law as such, it basically calls it any criminal activity that involves computer or any network device or any other related device which uses internet is basically cybercrime. Okay, and the people who commit cyber crimes, there's a word for them also in law, we call them cyber criminals. So the mostly they do something like this with an intention of profit making. So one is to cause harm to the person himself or to the product that the person uses. For example, let's say cyber crimes, one is to cause harm to the person. By that I say, they might bully you, which we call as cyber bullying, or they might have some ransom pay, or they might try to scam you in different ways. Or the other one, they might, as I said, they might affect your product that you use. Let's say they send some malware on your phones, they have some virus attack on your phones. So both of these are called cyber crimes. And something that was very old for a very long time was maybe these credit card frauds, where where they call you, ask you for an OTP,
Mm.
It's pretty old, pretty much old today.
Yeah.
Today they're more, these guys, or what we call them as cyber criminals, have come up with many innovative ways of, putting you inside a trap. By doing a lot of things, they start off with, as I told you, cyberbullying, or something called as cyber stalking also,
Mm.
or something that was even more older than this was this online job fraud. They say you're there here, and then they we'll give you a job, you'll have to pay this kind of money. The moment you pay that money, and there's no more job or anything as such. And lot of them have got into this threat, particularly the elderly. Okay, the statistics
Mm.
says, uh, I don't know if people have watched this on the news. There was a separate coverage in one of the media channel where 61-year-old man lost close to 13 lakhs to
Yeah.
this online scam by giving their OTP. I think as much as we are getting aware of the cyber crimes around, it's more important for us that we also deliver this to our elders at home,
Mm.
who don't really know about what happens in the background and stuff like that. The statistics says in the year 2024, that is the current year that we live in, we've not yet even finished this. Around the first quarter had reported 1,750 crore rupees, which was lost to cyber criminals. That's a pretty huge amount, and the government of India functions something called as the I4C, I4NC, which basically stands for I is Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which is basically handled by the Ministry of Home Affairs. They
Okay.
give a very staggering amount. As a country, we've lost close to 11,500 crores
Wow. Oh my God.
just the first 9 months of this year 2020. That's basically until September. And out of all these cyber crimes,
Mm.
which amounts to 13,000 plus crores, majority of the chunk goes, that let's say 4,600 crores, is only because of this something called as stock trading scams.
Mm.
So
Mm.
basically, you have Instagram, WhatsApp, and Twitters, or let's say Telegram. They add you on a group, and they say we'll give you advice on how to trade and everything, and they take money. First time it will work for some of them, and then they'll ensure that it works so that you invest a little more money on that, and then finally they vanish.
Mm.
So in the last 9 months, that is September, Jan to September, there are 2028, sorry, 228,000 cases reported only on stock trading scams. And these are only the reported ones. We don't know how many more are there which are unreported. And the
Mm.
second bigger chunks goes for something called as investment scams, which amounts to 3,200 change crores. And these cases are up to a lakh of cases, which comes. I repeat again, these are only data that has come to the government because they have been reported. We have no
Mm.
clue of how many people have lost more than this who have not
Mm.
reported this kind of cyber scam. So I think it's very important for us to also make people around us aware of not to click unnecessary things, or OTPs. People call saying that we are from your bank, we need this OTP. This, as I told you, this is something old, but today, they're trying more. Maybe the second biggest thing, maybe when you come up with the next question, I will kind of touch on the second biggest thing that is also, kind of happening in our country along with these cyber scams.
Mm.
So this is just the gist of the various kinds of cyber crimes that could possibly happen here, and also to women particularly. Uh,
Mm.
I have to talk about this, the online dating scams that happen also.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll find a partner for you, and then you pay them some amount, and then they disappear the moment the amount is transferred. You try to call them, they're not reachable. And also acquaintances that you meet online, people that you don't even know, and then there is some explicit images that is shared to the other person. The person sits somewhere, maybe not even in India, and then threatens that you don't pay us this amount of money, we're going to release this outside. And this becomes very difficult, and we have also recorded quite number of suicides because of this kind of cyberbullying or cyber threat that happens.
Mm. So, and there are So there are a lot of words that people have heard of, but they'll not know one of the meanings. And I think that's another that word. One of the words is digital arrest. So, I would like you to explain to the audience what does digital arrest mean.
So, digital arrest, I mean, something that I should also mention is it's become so evident in our country. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi uh, also spoke about this in his 115th episode, Man Ke Baat. So he made people aware that please don't get into the trap of this. So basically, what happens? Digital arrest is basically you get a call from a person who identifies himself to be part of the police department or part of the income tax department or maybe
Okay.
part of ED, Enforcement Directorate. And it so happens all their DPs on WhatsApp is, a police, fellows, a police personnel's DP or they call themselves to be officers, commissioners, or inspectors, and then they say, you've done this kind of fraud. If you don't pay us, because of which you'll have to pay this amount of penalty, interest, and everything. But there's another way that we can tackle this. You can just pay us, maybe a percentage of it. We let you go through. And it so happens that they've also made forget general calls. They've also made video calls to
Mm.
people to threaten them to make it look all the more authentic. And they say, if you get into this, if we have to take legal action, you'll be arrested, you'll be put behind the bars for 5 years, 10 years because of this something that you did. So instead of all this, you can just pay us a little amount, and you can get off through this. And a lot of people have paid them. So this is what we call as digital arrest. So basically, actual arrest is basically arresting you behind the bars, correct?
Mm.
So physically arresting you. The reason why it is called digitally arrest is because these officers who are not really officers of the government, who are just fake faltu people who come up and say, we're going to arrest you if you don't pay us this amount. And a lot of them tend to believe that actually this is what happens, and eventually give up this money, and uh, finally are arrested. Not only this, also I was really shocked myself, of some emails that is sent to people. So they start off with an email, we are from income tax department or maybe an excise department, and you're involved in this fraud. Therefore, we are going to send you this notice. You need to reply to us within a period of 15 days. Otherwise, we're going to charge this amount of penalty and so and so. Along with that, I was also reading, and I came across few people who also got mails from an authority which claims itself to be, the IT department of our nation, or let's say information technology unit, where the commissioner, sends a notice saying that you have been involved in watching a lot of pornographic content, which is not right. Therefore, since you watch, content which is not legally allowed, we are sending a notice. This is a notice, and you have to pay so much of penalty. Not only that, you'll also have to pay. Sorry, you will be put behind the bars. And most of the time, these emails end up in spam. But the
Mm.
moment you go and click onto it and open to it and everything, you give them access to your personal data. And that's when they keep on calling you. And they
Mm.
pretend to be officers of the law. And they say, you don't pay us this amount, we're going to arrest you tomorrow. And there's so
Mm.
much of force, trauma that is put on a person that,
Mm.
it's scary, right? The government authority is saying that you're going to, be arrested. It's pretty scary. So they, end up paying this amount. The
Mm.
first quarter of India, like the first quarter, this year's first quarter, that is April, May, June, as a country, we've lost 120 crores only to digital asset.
Oh my God.
And the government is also, doing its own kind of task by, blocking quite a lot of. In fact, this year the government has blocked 17,000 WhatsApp accounts
Oh.
linked to cyber criminals, and these criminals sit in most of Southeast Asia. They sit in, you know Philippines, and different other places.
Mm.
17,000 accounts just blocked this year itself.
Mm.
Just also going, coming out from digital arrest, talking about these spam calls that you get.
Mm.
Recently I was talking to a friend, where she told me that the people who are calling her left, right, center from different numbers and telling her, basically they tell the name right, everything right, and then they go on saying that your name is put as a guarantee or as a surety on these two people who have not paid us this loan amount. So you have to pay this loan amount. And
mm,
she was clueless because she didn't know who these two people were.
mm.
And they went on calling back to back, and she went on blocking every number. And then she got a message also, on her WhatsApp number saying, "How many numbers are you going to block?"
Oh my God.
This is really traumatizing, like you're getting calls back to back, and it's scary actually.
Yeah.
Uh, and alternatively, I was just giving us some kind of advice on how to, tackle it legally and everything. You could also put your phones on DND,
Mm,
but the problem is, the struggle here is DND calls also kind of does not allow you to take your calls from Ola, Uber, maybe a
mm,
Zomato guy, maybe a Swiggy guy. So the best way to come out of this is to ensure that you ignore anything that is coming from an unknown source.
mm,
Be safe.
mm,
So, anyways, so that is digital arrest, not basically arresting you physically, putting you behind bars, but
mm,
scaring you digitally through phones, video calls, and everything, and saying, you don't pay us, we're going to arrest.
mm,
So this is, what they call is digital arrest.
mm. I mean, it's very scary also, no, because it's like emotionally traumatizing to the person also. Because from their side, it's we don't know the intentions, Maybe for their side, it's fun for them, or for their side, it's the money that they're taking. But
More than fun, as I told you, this is cyber profiting. So basically, they try to, take out money from you and put you to an extent where you either pay or you don't have another option, do or die kind of a situation.
yeah. You have given an amazing explanation about cybercrime and what it is. So let's get into what the you know the I think what a lot of people should would like to know about is like what how can people report these cybercrimes, and because once when they get these kind of calls and when they get into these problems, they don't know the next step what to do after that. It's very difficult for them. So like what are like the protocols that they can somewhat follow to report.
Okay, so it's various ways. For example, let's say there's a credit card or a debit card fraud.
Mm,
So the first thing that any person with any layman could do is first ensure you talk to your bank authorities and block your card. Okay,
mm,
that's like the step one. Okay,
mm,
basics. You block your card. Even you do that eventually. Even when you lose your card or something. First, inform your bank authorities. Get your card blocked. But let's say the fraud has already happened and you want to report this. Just I keep saying this to people. Just remember the year 1930, 1930, because this is the toll-free number that you have to call to report any kind of cyber crimes. So I
okay.
repeat, it's 1930. So you call on this number and then you give them the information that is asked for. This is a pan India toll free number 1930. So this is one.
Mm,
Suppose you want to do it online, there's a possibility of that also. There is something called as the NCCR, which basically
okay.
stands for National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. Okay, so National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. You can go there, and you can electronically type in the details.
Mm,
There are certain mandatory details that you'll have to give while you kind of file your complaint. So these things are to be kept ready. Examples like you need to know when the incident happened, the date and time, a brief description of the incident. It's below, like these. There's a word limit for that, and a
okay.
soft copy of your, identity. All this should be given. Suppose it's a financial fraud. Along with this, you need to name which bank
Mm,
you have an account. The You get something called as a UTR number, or let's say a transaction number ID. It's usually a 12-digit number. You'll have to mention that the date of transaction, the fraud amount, and any other copies that you could give as as evidence. You can upload this, and any other details is optional. For example, do you suspect anybody, do you suspect any website,
mm,
or you suspect any person who's doing this, his name is his bank account number, and then you go on submit, and then the NCCRP, that is National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, will take account of this, and then we take the necessary action. But though we have all of these things, the ground reality is that there is no instant action
Yeah.
when something has already happened.
Um,
But there's definitely, actions or control measures that could be taken during the course of these cyber crimes or
mm,
before. But after it happens, practically speaking, it's very difficult to get back whatever you've lost.
mm,
So it's very wise, that's why they say, precaution is better than cure. So it's very
mm,
wise to be very mindful of these things and not given to any of these things.
mm,
These are places only to report. But if you're going to ask me, are you going to get back whatever you've lost? Very unlikely.
um,
Very unlikely. But it's definitely good to report so that it doesn't happen to another person, whatever you went through.
mm.
That's it.
That's so. My last question to you would be like, what are the laws, against cybercrime that people should be, aware of?
Okay. Um, so in India, the first kind of laws with regard to cyber crimes or anything or a cyber law was called as the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which came in the year 1986. That was our first law to be effective. Okay, but later on, the improvement of technology and quite a lot of other things gave rise to something called as the IT Act, the Information Technology Act 2000, which is now basically covers all your cyber laws, cyber crimes, and everything. So basically, it's the Information Technology Act read along with the IPC,
Mm,
which is basically the Indian Penal Code. There are a lot of frauds that are coming categorized under these acts, particularly the IPC, which has separate sections for various kind of frauds, including the penalty for it. Okay,
mm,
Section 66 of the IPC is something that I can quote for any of these acts of cyber crimes, or somebody is copying your digital signature on the computers, or any amount which is used for cyber terrorism, um, trespassing of one's online access. All of these are covered under your IPC. But along with that, the IT Act also gives a wide array of things that can be, sorry, the section 66 that I quoted was the IT Act. Along with this, you have the IPC also, which gives a wide range of penalties for any of these digital crimes, or let's say cyber crimes, which basically involves even cyber forgeries, or let's say identity theft. Um, and there are a lot of precedents that in the past where these things are taken seriously once you've tried to pursue this legally.
mm,
Um, and also these crimes of sometimes when you want to go to a government data or a government website, there are also these fake websites which
mm,
comes in the top 3 as sponsored. We should be very careful when we click onto this. The most recent scam was with regard to these number plates, HSRP number plates, that the cars and bikes had to get a new number plate. There were a lot of these dummy websites, or let's say websites that were not actually the government websites,
mm,
um, that was there online, where people lost their money thinking this was the original government website. So it's also be very clear and mindful of what you're clicking on to.
mhm,
And as I said, there is penalties for all these also. For
mm,
any of your forgery, for any of the fraud committed, or let's say falsifying documents digitally, or any of the fraud that is covered, the IPC provides for penalties for all of these things. Where
mm,
you have imprisonment for some things, which goes up to 7-year imprisonment, along with your fine that is put on these cyber criminals. So IPCs takes all these very seriously, and as I said, if pursued legally, there's definitely legal course and legal action for all of these kind of crimes.
mm,
But at the outset, again, I repeat, trying to find out, who did this. Maybe you could even possibly punish him. But at the end of it, if you ask me whether what you've lost is recoverable, I would really say that's still very unlikely. So
Mm.
anything that comes from an unknown source is always good to be ignored. As I told you about this digital arrest, also,
Mm.
Honorable Prime Minister was very clear and said, no, none of our government agencies sends you notices or calls you or WhatsApp calls you for any of these things. You can always verify this by going directly to the actual official website or physically visit these places, verify for yourself, and not get into the trap of any of these kind of incidents.
Mm.
And as young guys, as young people, it's very important that we spread this awareness to the people at home,
Yeah.
not to click anything unnecessarily, or,
Mm.
or these messages that say, you have won, 1 lakh rupee dollars, sorry, not even rupees, 1 lakh dollars,
Yeah.
you know, and people click onto this. One click is enough to open that malware and spread the virus and hack your
Mm.
details and get into all of these things. So it's always better to be very mindful and not click onto anything that does not come from a source that you are aware of.
Mm. It's a it's a very scary world because one phone call and one click will can take just so much money from your life, and it's the well hard worked money that just goes with just within just few minutes. So like you said, I think after the after it happens, it's difficult, but definitely
Mm.
following the protocols is a must, and it's very important.
Very
And
true.
also, I think one of the reasons why we wanted to do this was an awareness, to bring an awareness, what to do, when these situations come, because they don't know what to do the moment these things come. And it's emotionally traumatizing when
Mm.
these things happen, right? So thank you so much, Shreyas. Thank you so much for getting into this discussing, about cybercrime, and then also, telling us what we can do, the protocols we can talk, and, even the law side, what are the laws that are there about cybercrime as well. So once again, thank you so much, Shreyas, for coming here for live. It was great
Thank you,
having you.
Johan, for hosting this. It's my honor and privilege as always.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah. So once again, thank you so much for all the viewers who have been watching the live. And once again, we'll come back for another Radio Bank show next week. So if you want to ever get in touch with us, you can definitely get in touch with us at 6364252164. This is me, Johan, signing off. See you next week.
Thank you.